Hi everyone, Mark Cooper here. Well, another week has come and gone. Saskatchewan continues to make good progress in our ongoing battle with COVID-19. And this week we got word that phase three of the Reopen Saskatchewan plan is scheduled to begin on Monday, June 8th. I think for most people that is welcome news as we continue on the road towards a full reopening and recovery of our province and our economy. This week, there's a few items that I want to highlight for you. First, the SCA submitted a series of about 40 recommendations to the provincial government last week that proposed ways in which the province could improve their procurement practices and ensure that more of this taxpayer-funded work goes to local companies. At the heart of these recommendations are a few what I would call key principles. So the first of that is that procurement is an economic development tool and should be viewed and planned for accordingly. It's all about supporting and growing the local economy. The second principle is that companies committed to being engaged locally will belong to groups like their industry associations. Third principle is that the best way to ensure local work goes to local companies is with a simultaneous defensive and offensive strategy. The offensive strategy is to work proactively to develop, support, inform, and engage the local community of vendors. Everyone involved in procurement should have this as part of their daily expectations. They should know the vendor community, they should work with it, they should understand the limitations and challenges for that vendor community, and they should be designing their work to support that community. That's the offensive strategy. The defensive strategy is to erect hurdles, but not barriers, so hurdles to limit out-of-market competitors from playing in this space. These hurdles would need to be leaped by everyone, including local vendors, but could be and should be structured to provide an advantage to those local firms. So based on those principles and the recommendations that we've submitted to the provincial government, we're going to continue to work to encourage the province and then our municipal governments across Saskatchewan to adopt procurement practices that are consistent with our recommendations. If you'd like to know more, you can read the paper that we submitted in today's bulletin, or you can reach out to me anytime. The second thing I want to cover off with you today is that over the course of the week, the SCA was part of sending two different letters to the provincial government. Both of those letters should be accessible in today's bulletin. The first letter was a letter of thank you to the Premier and to Cabinet for their leadership and support during COVID-19. It was a letter from the Saskatchewan Business Council, which the SCA was a founding member of. And the letter focuses on the incredible infrastructure commitments that the province has made and the ongoing relationship between the province and the business community. The second letter was a joint letter between myself and Chantal Lipp from the Heavy Construction Association. Chantal and I wrote to Minister Wyant and Minister Carr asking them to ensure that provincial infrastructure money that's going to be flowed to municipalities through all of the stimulus funding be used to support private sector contractors, so not to be used by the municipality's own forces. We hear about this all the time, that municipal employees are doing construction work, and we really think that that work should flow to our member companies, and that the work that's being funded by the taxpayer should be done by tax-paying companies here in Saskatchewan. Lastly, I want to give you a couple of updates on some other government relations files that are moving around on us this week. The first is that the federal government announced this week that the wage subsidy program would be extended through the month of August. This is going to be good news for those employees or employers that qualify. More details should be available soon, and we'll provide them to you when we can. You can always get information on the latest government programs available to support employers on our COVID-19 portal. The provincial government this week also announced the period during which employers can lay off employees without requirement for notice because of COVID-19 is going to be extended. So you may recall that at the start of the pandemic, they did this and said there would be the no notice requirements would be in place for 12 weeks. We're coming up on that period now. It's believed that this extension is going to persist until all of the public health orders have been lifted. So employers that laid off people previously or are thinking they may have to do that now do not need to worry at this point about the potential of having to pay notice retroactively. Last thing I wanted to mention is as the COVID-19 situation stabilizes somewhat, we are beginning to turn our attention to other important files that we've been working on, most notably prompt payment. We don't have any updates on prompt payment yet today, but I'm hopeful by next week we will, and still very optimistic that we will see that legislation in force by January 1st, 2021. Okay, that's it for me this week. Thanks everyone for your time and your continued commitment and leadership in helping build Saskatchewan. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk again next week. Take care.